team that lost to Mississippi State.
Shutdown started. I'd be there. Bane, I'm glad. Are you okay? You sure? Just making sure. Oh, dude, we're Auburn fans. We're used to that stuff. I mean, you know, we've lost to, well, at the time, we lost to the number 7 and the number 1 team in the country. All right, thanks everybody for being here. It is 5 o'clock. We will go ahead and get started working through this agenda. All right, first thing on the agenda for next week is reorganization of council, elect council president and elect council pro tem. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. Anybody have any questions? No. All right, next we have Dr. Sims will give us a presentation on the Turtle Bridge project. And you can come up here. I think we've got the handouts. Everybody's got one.
You know, a lot of bridge activity in the paper lately, but this is nothing like the Del Rio bridge. It's going to be a fun bridge. It's entitled the Turtle Bridge, and that is for several reasons. Number one, I think Stratton Orr's daughter has some turtles hidden on 2nd Avenue. And following that theme, and my daughter, who is developing all this, is also very fond of turtles and has a pet turtle named for my wife, Betty. But at any rate, I wish that we had some visuals of what I'm going to just briefly go over, but I don't have those. On the site plan that you all probably have, this is drawn somewhat to scale. And if you look at the little red dot right here, this is a railroad car. That's a caboose. So that gives you some idea about how much space there is under these two bridges. This would be a pocket park that is going to be built under the bridges on ALDOT land. The theme of this is to create harmony between nature, between industry, and between the community. And there's going to be something there for everybody, especially what I'm so excited about is what they're going to have for the kids. At any rate, we'll have places that maybe food trucks could come. We'll have some concessions, perhaps. There is a berm. There's a vacant lot next to this, and there's a berm between the vacant lot and the bridge. We don't know exactly what's in the berm. I suspect it's rubble from the bridge that was torn down, but I don't know. I thought we ought to remove it, and my daughter said, absolutely not. She said, we're going to use that. And I said, what are you going to do with it? She says, we're going to make it into something that kids will really enjoy. So part of that would be to have a stump steps going around this. This would be just tree sections that would be stuck in the ground, and they would be color-coded for kids with short strides, and for other people with longer strides, and then big people with longer strides that could walk up the hill on steps. Yeah, you have it right there. And the little marks off to the side of the rope right there would be the stump steps. And the rope area would be areas that the kids could pull themselves up the hill with the rope and get a little exercise while doing it. The slide would be very easy to build with local materials. We wouldn't have to have any infrastructure to it to amount to anything, because the contour of the land would conform it pretty well. And there also, I think, would be a jungle gym in there somewhere that maybe on down one end or the other of that, with a rope ladder that could be used to climb up the hill or down the hill. And also coming down the hill, I guess the kids could rappel, and all these would be learning experiences for them. One thing that I thought of was having just a nice grassy medium slope that kids could roll down. I mean, we used to do that 100 years ago, and it was a lot of fun. So at any rate, these are all low maintenance and low cost items that can go into this. The complex would also have maybe a basketball goal kind of thing, basketball area with maybe some lower goals for the little kids and maybe a little higher goal for some of the other advanced kids. And then maybe a soccer goal that they could kick into and stay away from all the big guys. The area would have some seating for people to eat, picnic, and that sort of thing. And also it would have an amphitheater. And the amphitheater would have a pull-down screen between the uprights. And this could be used in many ways. We could have like instructions for building things, or instruction for playing a guitar or banjo or ukulele, or it could be for demonstration of wildlife, various wildlife, maybe birds of prey or things of this nature. There'd be a lot of uses for that. And it could also show movies and educational movies or whatever decided. Beyond that would be some steps, wide, platform kind of steps where people could actually sit and watch the river go by. And we're not encouraging people to get into the water, but at least they could touch the water and they can see the water. They can sit down there and look at a beautiful landscape. And we'd like to promote the water, because we've got one of the most beautiful rivers here and you can't even touch it anywhere. So we would like to develop that as much as we possibly can. Also, this would have some platforms that would be covered with a tent-like cover, and these could be used for yoga or exercise or dancing or martial arts, or just any number of things that you might be able to think of. So again, I think there would be a turtle pond here, and another nature item would be perhaps a beehive or two. I think that beehives do pretty well in city settings, because everybody's got a flower or two in their yard. And apparently the honey they make is pretty good as well. So that's one thing that this has everything just about covered as far as the community and industry and nature. One thing it doesn't have is parking. And there's a vacant lot next door that I have invited the city to buy, and I think we would leave it just as a parking lot and not part of the park. I think Herman could probably tell us more about why that would be a good idea. And if there are any questions, I'll be happy to try to answer them. Anybody have anything that you'd like to ask about? Good, that means I've done it all right. So.
No questions, maybe in the future. But
Maybe two.
no, this looks great. It's exciting. I know you and I have talked about this previously, so just want to thank you for being here tonight and presenting this. So it's good to see something on paper.
I know Jeannie Payne has worked on this, and your daughter.
Yeah, Jeannie's going to help us with funding, raising some money for it. And we have a lot of in-kind contributions. The first thing we've done is we have had it surveyed so that we can make sure that the drainage and all the engineering things are taken care of first before we get into the further steps of that.
Yeah, Dr. Sims, that whenever people come and want us to participate and from the city's perspective on funding and certain projects like this, it's always a lot easier when people like you are helping raise funds as well, and we can do it as a partnership, so thank you.
Well, we've got a lot of in-kind funds as well,
Yeah,
so
That's
that's good.
great.
It's very visionary, and the improvement of coming into the city from over the bridge, as opposed to what we see now, will definitely be could be a wonderful improvement.
Well, I think that you can't have too many parks.
Thank you, Dr. Sims.
Thank you.
Can we put this in District 3?
They
You
fixed
know, I'll
it
add
with
it
the Sixth Avenue plan.
Not if you want it passed.
I'll try.
All right, thank you, Dr. Sims.
Thank you.
We will move into the rest of the agenda. Next is approval of minutes, September 22nd, 2021, 8:30 a.m. special called work session, city council special called meeting, September 27th, 2021, 4 p.m., September 27th, 2021, 5 p.m. work session, and October 4th, 2021, 5:30 p.m. work session. Any questions? All right, monthly bills approved, September 2021 monthly bills. Any questions? All right, public hearings, resolution number 21-315, approved request for a special event retail liquor license for Burning Tree Golf Club acquisition to be held on October 29th and 30th, 2021 at 2919 Fairground Road, Decatur, Alabama 35603.
Good evening, council. This is a request for a special event retail liquor license at the fairgrounds for a rodeo that's being planned there in, at the end of October.
All right, any questions? All right, next is ordinance number 214474, approved pre-zoning request 1376-21 to R3, public hearing set on September 20th, 2021.
Yes, pre-zoning 1376, it's request to pre-zone a 20.1 acre parcel to R3. This is north of Kiowa Trail.
Okay, and then I think we were gonna move C down, and
I
so
believe that would probably.
D and E have, I think, are in that same present. So we'll go to D, ordinance number 214476, approved rezoning request 1374-21 from R2 to R3. Public hearing was set on September 20th, 2021, and then also ordinance number 214477, approved rezoning request 1375-21 from R2 to R3. Public hearing was set on September 20th, 2021.
Yes, these are adjacent properties to the one previously mentioned. Those are currently in the city limits. They're looking to go from R2 to R3.
Okay, any questions on those? All right, and then back to C, which is ordinance number 214475, approved rezoning request 1373-21 from R6 to R1E. Public hearing was set on September 20th, 2021.
Yes, this is a property on Red Bank Road, 5 acre parcel looking to go from R6 to R1E.
Okay. Any questions on that one? Thanks, Lee. All right, we are going to skip down to S under resolutions. Resolution number 21334, preliminary approval of MUB FY22 budget expenditures expected to exceed $100,000. Ray.
Thank you. Well, thank you, council. Is Mr. Jackson on the phone? Is he?
I
He
think
is
so.
supposed to be.
Okay. I want to talk to you about a process tonight that we began about 4 years ago. As you know, part of the rules that were laid out in Local Act number 89 that created the Utilities Board, it's been amended a couple of times, but it creates the level of authority that the board has for approval of capital expenditures. Anything over $100,000 comes to the council for further approval. So forever, the way that's worked is we take that approval request to our board, they approve it, and then we bring that to you. So about 4 years ago, we began a process where we sort of flipped that order, and we have taken our budgets for FY22 to our board. They've approved those budgets last month in our last meeting, And so what we're doing here is bringing you a full list of all the capital expenditures that we anticipate to exceed 100,000 for this fiscal year, and allow you to review those and see them all at one time rather than one or two a month, and understand the big picture of our capital plan. And then if you're inclined to approve those, then when we get around to doing those throughout the year, as long as the actual cost comes in under what we've provided you already, then we move forward. Our board will still have to approve those as they come up for business. And then if for some reason bids come in high on a project, then we'll bring those back to you if it exceeds what's in this presentation today. So if you could go to the next slide, I'll kind of cover, I think I've covered some of this already, but it kind of just talks about what the requirements are for council approval. If we exceed these pre-approved limits, then we'll come back to the council. The next slide kind of covers a little more of that as well. Yeah. So I've covered all those bullets in those two slides that just talks about what our process would be if a bid came in high. Particularly in the economy that we're in today, supply chain challenges are affecting every area of our economy. Contractors are having a difficult time getting equipment, and vendors are having a hard time giving us pricing that they can hold more than 30 days. 30 days is about the longest they can hold any kind of price. So this process also helps us be able to go to bid, get our board's approval, and move the project on forward and give a notice to proceed unless we come in over the budget. So I'm going to turn it over to our team. Our first list of items is items from our electric utility. Glenn Boyles is going to cover those projects, and then we'll go through gas, water, and wastewater, and cover the details of each of these items. And if you have questions, stop us and ask us. Some of it's routine stuff, some of it's unique, equipment type things. So, Glenn?
Okay, I'll go through each one of these fairly quickly. The first one, you don't mind going to the next slide, be fine. The first one I have is substation equipment. This is an annual replacement of some of our substation equipment that is at the end of its useful life. We try to do one substation every year to upgrade our system. So we've got about 40 substations out there, so we try to hit at least one of those a year unless we have other issues, maintenance, or failures that come up that are unexpected. This keeps our system reliable and safe, and keeps our distribution system stable in the city. The next one I have is for a substation transformer. This goes along those same lines. We try to replace one of our older substation transformers every year to get older equipment out of the system. We also combine this with our conversion work, which is another one I'll speak to. We're in the process of converting the entire city to 12 kV from 4 kV, and these new transformers that are purchased every year are 12 kV transformers, so that goes along with our conversion work. The next one I have is for a feeder extension. This is over in the Modus Road area near Austin High School, extending this feeder from the Jack Allen Rec Center out to the Bunny Lane and Shady Grove area. Provides some additional capacity for us, also provides means to backfeed if we have an outage on another feeder that goes into that area. This provides some additional capability to backfeed from a different direction if we have issues out there. The next one I have is for the conversion process. This has been an ongoing project for a number of years. We've got about 4 more years of this work to do to have the whole city converted over. We've already removed 2 of our older substations through this process, and we have 2 more that will also be eliminated as we finish up the entire system. And as I mentioned, this converts our entire system to 12 kV. This reduces our line losses on our system as well, saving us additional money. And the 4 kV equipment is becoming less common because a lot of utilities are going through this conversion process, so we actually save money buying the new 12 kV equipment. The next several I have are equipment truck replacements. The first one is for a bucket truck that is used every day on service calls and troubleshooting calls. This truck gets a lot of miles on it. It is a 2015, but due to the fact that it's on the road every day, gets a lot of mileage, and we'd like to go ahead and replace that one. The next one I have is for a digger truck. You can see it's an older truck. These trucks don't get near the mileage as the service bucket, but the hours on the lift and the digger derrick itself require replacement. This is due to hours of maintenance cost on the, not necessarily the chassis or the engine, but the equipment itself that's mounted on the chassis. The next one is also a large bucket truck. This is one that is also, you see a lot of age on that. It's a 2003 model. We don't use this one every day, but the reach capacity on this truck provides us means to reach taller transmission lines. And as you know, transmission lines are the backbone of the system. So if we have trouble on transmission lines, we need to get out there quickly as we can and be able to have access to get those lines repaired. The last one is another digger derrick truck. Actually, what we have now is a line truck, basically just a boom truck. We'll be replacing that with a digger derrick truck, which provides more capability for our construction work. We'd like to go ahead and get a digger derrick and replace that line truck. The next expenditure I have will be for server replacement for our SCADA system. SCADA provides us a lot of information back in our dispatch center. It lets us see what's going on in our substations, and also provides us some capability to open and close breakers in substations. It's a very important system for us, and these servers are our interface between the field and the dispatch center. And the last one I have is for repairs in our Central Parkway Service Center, where all of our electric trucks and our crews work out of. A lot of the asphalt around this service center is aged, and several areas are crumbling and need repair and replacement.
Good afternoon. We'll go over some of the items in the gas department and the water and wastewater departments. The first item you see on the slide there is the Vine Street Regulator Station upgrade. This is a station that was installed back in 1970. We've got some settlement going on with that station. This station provides the natural gas feed to our industry on Market Street. So it's vital that we go in and rehabilitate this station and bring it up to speed. Also in the gas system, we're budgeting $150,000 for ductile iron replacements. The Pipeline and Hazardous Materials Safety Administration, along with the Alabama Public Service Commission, has pretty much mandated that we replace all cast iron pipe in the gas system and ductile iron pipe. All of our cast iron pipe was completely replaced as of about 4 years ago. We still have a little over a mile of ductile iron pipe in the system, so we're working to continue to replace that. We've got about a little under 3,200 feet to do this coming year, and about 47 service replacements along with that. The next slide you see is to relocate the Bungie gas metering station. We're budgeting $200,000 for this project. That station was installed at its current location back in 1974. And what's happened over the years is as Bungie has expanded and adjusted their operations, it's causing difficulties on our in-house crews to get to that metering station safely and work on it safely. So we want to move that back out towards the right-of-way and put it in an area that's much more accessible to our crews. The next slide, we'll talk about some equipment replacements. We have a 10-year-old Caterpillar backhoe that we're budgeting $110,000 to replace this year. That's used in our gas system. We've got over 2,200 operating hours on that piece of equipment. And I think Tom has 2 or 3 slides beginning in the water, and then I'll jump back in with some of the items in my group.
Good evening. I've got a couple of projects at the water treatment plant. The first one is $150,000 for finished water pump rebuilds, replacements. As you can imagine, we've got a lot of pumps over at the water plant, and this is just a placeholder to be able to repair or replace those pumps as needed over the fiscal year. The second slide is for a $1.5 million estimate on the 10 million gallon water storage tank to blast and coat the interior of that tank. That tank's located at Red Hat Road and Highway 20. It's our largest tank in the system. This particular tank supplies the industrial park. While that tank is out of service, you may have noticed some construction just being completed there on Highway 20 next to our Bakers Creek lift station. That is a brand new booster pump station, and it will be able to mimic the supply from that 10 million gallon tank while we have it out of service, painting it.
Next, we have we're budgeting $600,000 to replace cast iron and PVC pipelines in the water distribution system. We have probably over 200 miles of cast iron water mains still in our water system that are in bad need of replacement, and so we have been budgeting more and more money over the last few years to try to continue to replace those. So we'll be working to do that this coming year. We also have a backhoe replacement in the water department as well. This particular piece of equipment is 11 years old with over 4,000 hours on it. And I think Tom has some wastewater slides, and then I'll finish up with some wastewater slides.
Yeah, the first one is for an estimate of $850,000. It is for a biosolids storage pad, cover pad. One of our biggest expenses at the wastewater treatment plant is disposal, and so we're always looking for ways to get our sludge drier to lower those costs. The second one is for the Bakers Creek lift station improvements. That is located at Highway 20 and State Docks Road. That's an estimate of $600,000, and that's to make various improvements and replacements to pumping, piping, and any electrical equipment that might be needed there. And then lastly, we have the lift station 5 at 14th Avenue. We've budgeted $900,000 there, and that is to replace pumping and piping and electrical equipment there. Right now, a lot of that is below grade, it's underground, and we want to bring all that up and get away from that confined space and some of the issues that we're having there.
Continuing on in the wastewater department, we have budgeted $3 million for the coming year to replace almost 9,000 feet of clay gravity sewer main along Wimberley Drive over to across Danville Road into the Dunbarton subdivision. We're also looking at upsizing a lot of that system as well. This will help us with additional flow capacity for not only the current demand, but for any future demand in that area. And this is a map that shows where this work will be performed. If you guys may remember back a few years ago, we had a Clark Springs collector phase 1 that went across Spring Avenue and then under the belt line. And all of this was done to minimize and mitigate our sanitary sewer overflows. We did make improvements in phase 1, but we anticipate making even more improvements with phase 2. So this is a continuation of that project. And this kind of shows you where that work will be taking place. Like I said, it's along Wimberley Drive. It will go across Danville and tie into our existing system. I believe that's on McTavish in that subdivision. The next slide, we have budgeted $365,000 to rehabilitate 320 manholes in the wastewater collection system. This work is also going to help minimize and mitigate our sanitary sewer overflows. This slide shows where this work will be taking place. This is in Basin 1. It's our largest basin, and everything there flows directly to the wastewater treatment plant. So this year's work for manholes and the next slide that we'll look at for pipe bursting series this year will also be in that same area. We are budgeting $14 million this year to replace a little over 100,000 feet of defective clay mains. All of this work, again, is part of our 10-year plan to minimize and mitigate the sanitary sewer overflows. Crews are working diligently to get that accomplished. We're committed to doing that and looking forward to continuing that this coming year. Then the next slide should show that same area on the map that I mentioned a while ago. The next slide talks about, we're talking about replacing a 1991 tractor truck. We have had this truck for 30 years. We're going to be looking to replace it this year. This truck is used for in-house construction crews to haul heavy equipment out to the job sites that can't be driven, so we'll be looking to replace that truck this year. And then finally, we are replacing another backhoe. This one is in the wastewater system. This backhoe is 9 years old, has almost 2,700 operational hours on it, and is in need of replacement as well.
Thanks to everybody that presented. I'll open it up for any questions. If you have any questions or comments about any of these, I guess what I'll first, highlight is the fact that these are only the expenditures that are over 100,000. So we certainly have a lot of other capital expenditures throughout the year that our board approves, and these are the ones that reach that level that are listed in the act. So I'll be glad to answer any questions, and while we've got all the smart folks in the room.
On the 600,000 for the water system with cast iron, I was trying to write the notes down. How much of that is left? How much have we done? How much do we? I missed that one.
As far as the footage, you wanna?
Yeah, I'll be glad to answer that. We have probably around 240 miles of cast iron remaining in the system. We've, within the last 3 to 4 years, have begun a replacement program. So this is a new program, and we are budgeting a little bit more and more money each year as we get into this. But yeah, there's still a lot to do.
Long way to go. Gotta get started somewhere.
That's really driven by leakage history, but that's something and that's how we prioritize where we go with it. But that's something that we've got to stay diligent on for a generation of time to get all that pipe replaced.
Can you just kind of give high level on the fleet replacement, how you guys, what your method is to go through that? And
Sure.
I know 30 years is probably one of the benchmarks that needs to be replaced.
For the type of equipment that you guys get to see is usually going to be the big heavy equipment that does go 8, 10, 12 years between replacement. Our primary fleet expense is our light duty half-ton, three-quarter-ton trucks. About 20 years ago, predates my time with DU, we found ourselves with a fleet that was in very poor condition because we were running things way too long, way past their useful life. And our board really supported and demanded that we improve that. And so we developed policies that look at 5 years and 60,000 mile thresholds for light duty vehicles. And we've stayed with that practice over a long period of time. It's a couple of things it's done for us. First, we present a much better image to our customers and to the community because we have a better quality fleet on the road. But it's reduced maintenance costs and it's reduced replacement costs. We see resale costs. For example, we just opened bids this past week and we'll have our fleet expenditures on for our board's consideration this week at our meeting. We're seeing the net replacement cost of an F-150 under $10,000. So when we take into account what we're going to sell that vehicle for and what the new cost is, we're replacing vehicles very inexpensively and keeping a modern fleet on the road. And I'm very thankful to our leadership of our board to have had that vision because it's not something that we want to go back on and have a fleet that's not reliable. So that's been our practice for at least 20 years, and we hope to continue that.
Any other questions?
That was a lot. Could y'all share those slides with us?
We'll be glad to email. We have the presentation on the computer here, so we can share it with everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ray.
Thank you.
Thanks, all guys. Tom, are you gonna stay?
Not unless you need me to.
Nah.
I'll be glad to if you need me.
You're becoming a regular, you know. All right, we'll go back to resolutions, back to A, if David's still with us this time. Resolution number 21-316, approve request from T-Mobile for a special use permit to modify equipment on the existing tower located at 2625 Centron Drive Southwest. I think David Andrews is on the line.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Council President. David Andrews with CMS. The resolution before you is an application made by T-Mobile to modify their equipment on the existing monopole tower located at 2625 Centron Avenue. T-Mobile is currently providing service from this existing monopole. They currently have 9 antennas mounted on the tower. They are proposing to remove all of their current equipment. They're going to add back 6 new antennas and 6 new remote radio units, which is the boxes that mount behind the antennas. They will be adding 1 additional feed line to the antenna, and this is for an anchor project for T-Mobile and Sprint customers to give them 5G service. CMS has reviewed the application and recommends approval.
Okay, thanks, David. Any questions? All right, next is resolution number 21-317, authorize mayor to execute employee benefit flexible spending account service agreement.
We've had these employee benefits in place for about 5 years. This is a new form from the vendor, and it's just standardizing their agreement. There's no rate changes, there's no benefit change. It's just a new form that they're implementing.
All right, any questions? Thanks, Rochelle. Resolution number 21-318, authorize the mayor to execute upgrade Laserfish to Avante. Brad?
This is just an agreement to finalize the agreement to upgrade the software, which is approved in the budget, to upgrade our Laserfish, which will also give us the workflow and the forms. Thank you.
Big word. All right, any questions on that?
It provides for better customer service as well, right?
Yes, sir. I think we hope to see a lot of benefits from it, customer
multiple
service to internal
departments.
efficiencies.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right, any questions on that one? Next is resolution number 21-319, authorize mayor to execute People Tech Services Agreement.
This is a company we found in Huntsville to provide us technology support, recommended to us from several people we respected. We've had trouble trying to find people to do this type of work. They do a lot of DoD work, very impressive. And this is just a master service agreement agrees as a beginning to us to hire them to do business. There's also a non-disclosure agreement, standard things like that.
All right, any questions? All right, resolution number 21-320, authorize the mayor to execute App Geo agreement for Map Geo Silver implementation, training, and yearly software purchase.
Yeah, this is also in the budget. This is basically replacing that map application on our website. The previous company we've been using for 10 years gotten to a situation where they basically could not support us anymore legally because of the way the ESRI does their licensing with the map software. So this is what we thought would be a good replacement for it.
Okay, any questions? Thanks, Brad. Next is resolution number 21-321, accept TAP grant for 6th Avenue sidewalks. Mr. Stover.
Yes, this is the resolution actually that you approved last week, but AlDOT has specific verbiage that I knew that they had, and I just failed to do that resolution, so I apologize for that. But it's the same, I mean, it's the same agreement. All we're doing is just using AlDOT's verbiage.
Okay. Any questions? All right, thanks, Alan. Next is resolution number 21-322, approve vacation requests 53621, Roberts Utility Drainage and Telecommunications Easement, and I'll read all three. I feel like I just read the same one. Resolution number 21-323, approve vacation request 53721, Roberts Utility Drainage and Telecommunications Easement. And resolution number 21-324, approve vacation 53821, Roberts Utility Drainage and Telecommunications Easement.
Okay, 536 and 537 are on the same property, just different property boundaries. And then 538 is across the street, same owner on on both of these parcels. The stated purpose was they just needed more flexibility to be able to put houses on these properties. When they platted them, they didn't take into account a couple things. So.
Okay. Any questions? You're good?
No issues with DU or engineering. Everyone signed off on it.
Okay. All right, any questions for Lee? Thanks, Lee. All right, resolution number 21-325, award bid number 21019 for ADA improvements at the Princess Theater to E-Tech Construction.
Yes, sir.
Charles.
We received one bid on this from E-Tech, and it covers the base bid and alternate three. Alternate three is moving the sound booth and the lighting booth to make room for the seating.
Okay. Is this Heritage?
Yeah, there's budgeted amounts in Heritage for this.
Okay.
But we're gonna wait, this still awards the bids, we'll wait to do some of the roof repairs, because that needs to come first before.
External roof.
So that'll come soon.
Okay. All right, any other questions? Thanks, Charles. Resolution number 21-326, service agreement with Decatur Morgan Tourism, CVB, term extended. Mayor?
Yes, Council President, Council, this is a request that we're presenting for the Visitors Bureau to have their agreement. Really, we just want to take the agreement that was approved last week and bring that back before you and put an extension date on there to September 2025. So that would be the end of this council term as far as the budget is concerned. And just, of course, as mentioned, we certainly appreciate what the Visitors Bureau is doing with us on the new parking deck that we have coming in. And had an opportunity to meet last week with the Hospitality Board and present the same request to them that we presented to the Visitors Bureau, and had an opportunity to visit with their leadership today, and they too will they want to partner with the city on the parking deck, so we're very thankful for that. So that said, that's what the ask is.
Okay, any questions? Thanks, Mayor. Next is resolution number 21-327, Legacy Cove subdivision improvements, location approval and right-of-way.
Yes, so that's improvements for the Legacy Cove off of Point Mallard Drive. Some of the columns, fencing, and the so-called guard shack are in city right-of-way, and also part of it is in a DUT, in other words, drainage utility and telecommunication easement. And when we look at all of that, the city's looked at it, and Decatur Utilities has looked at it, and it's going to be fine. We've got adequate right-of-way, and it's not going to impair the ability of Decatur Utilities to use their portion of the services. So it's working out well. So it's a very, if those who have ridden by, it's a very impressive fencing and columns, and
Looks great.
it really does. So anyway, that's that. Thank y'all.
Thanks, Herman. Any questions? All right, next is resolution number 21-328, approve advancement of funds for parking deck project to be reimbursed from anticipated warrant proceeds.
Well, and you'll see what's going to make up that. There's some preliminary costs, and Dane will talk about those. But what we do is doing the same thing we did before. When you have a project you anticipate borrowing money, the law allows you to do a preliminary resolution that says we're going to advance some of the funds and then reimburse ourselves from the bond, or in this case, warrant issue. And that it allows you to do that. If we don't do this, then there would be some question about whether we could in fact be reimbursed for those items that we do before we borrow the money on the warrant. It's what we've done before. We did it on the 6th Avenue project, if you remember.
All right, any questions for Herman? All right, next is resolution number 21-329, approve Shoal Markland architecture proposal for construction of a municipal parking deck.
Yeah, good evening, council. This is to approve the architectural fees to build the parking deck. We interviewed 4 different architectural firms. They were the lowest, and they have done a number of parking decks in Tuscaloosa and Huntsville. So that's Shoal Markland, and was really pleased with the work they've done.
Okay. Any questions on that? All right, next is resolution number 21-330, approve TTL proposal for the municipal parking deck project.
Sure. So in order to build the parking deck, we have to do geotech services just to make sure that the ground is suitable. TTL has done a number of projects for the city in the past, and are reputable for the city, and so they'll be doing geotechnical services for the deck to make sure how deep they have to dig for the foundation.
Okay, any questions? It's always good to see local folks.
Yes, that was, we were excited about that.
All right, any other questions? Thanks, Dane. Resolution number 21-331, approve the American Queen docking agreement.
Yes, that's a steamboat that comes through, then comes back and stops on the way back. And they just wanted to have an agreement whereby they can give us a schedule and we can prioritize their ability to dock. And that means, of course, passengers will get off and shop in Decatur and tour Decatur. So it seems to be a very win-win situation for both them and us.
All right, any questions? Thanks, Herman. Resolution number 21-332, approve AECom consulting agreement for A-Trip 2 application for roadway lighting on US Highway 31. Carl?
Yes, Mayor, Council, the city plan to, I guess, apply for A-Trip funding from MaDOT, and this project would be to improve the lighting across the river bridges and causeway from Wilson Street to the 3120 split. And this is to approve some preliminary look and engineering to get some cost estimates in order to apply for this funding.
All right, any questions? I know there's one guy in here that's real excited about that.
Just a point of information that the lights don't go all the way to the Y right now. And so this includes
additional, yeah.
But this is just an application to get funding to repair and add.
Yes.
Well, this is for AECom to do.
This is AECom do the consulting and the stuff.
Yeah.
But the end game is what you're talking about.
Right.
Applying for the A-Trip. Okay, thanks, Carl. Any other questions? All right, next is resolution number 21-333, approve aid to construction agreement with Decatur Utilities for painting streetlight poles on Gordon Drive Bridge. Carl?
Yeah, this is, we asked Decatur Utilities to look at doing the painting of the poles on our Gordon Bridge, and this was their aid to construction and brought the offer for approval.
Okay, any questions? All right, the next one we have done. After that, move to T, resolution number 21-335, budget adjustment for 6th floor improvements.
Yes, that's, replaces, on the 6th floor, replaces the tile and other flooring. Because when you come to visit 6th floor, one of the first things you notice is the flooring. And the tile is well over 20 years old, and it's got cracks in it, so this is an opportunity to complete. The tile has already been purchased. It was purchased last year. It's already on site, and this is just to install it and other parts of the flooring. But that's what it does. It's $5,071.50. That's what the ask is.
Okay, any questions on that?
That would come from general fund unassigned balance.
Okay. All right, next we have board appointments, and these are mayoral appointments, so we won't vote on these. But the first is mayoral appointment of Rico Robinson to the Housing Authority Board, term expiring August 5th, 2026. And then mayoral appointment of Shannon McCaskey to the Housing Authority Board, term expiring August 5th, 2025. Mayor, anything there?
Just to point out that Rico Robinson, the Housing Authority Board requires that one board member is an actual resident of the Housing Authority, and that would be Ms. Robinson. And then Ms. McCaskey is filling the vacated term of Ms. Ruth Priest. And we certainly appreciate Ms. Priest's time of service to the board.
Okay, any questions? All right, hope our meeting next week, and then after that, the next regular council work session is October 25th, 2021 at 5 p.m. The next regular council meeting will be held on November 1st, 2021 at 6 p.m. Anything else from directors? Mayor?
No, sir.
Anything else from council? Mr. Waller, do you have anything?
Did you get that name changed yet?
All right, we're finished.
It tends to be more of a hassle than we thought.